What's up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and we are looking at the Uber stock. We're looking at the founder, the former CEO who was ousted, Travis Kalanick, sold another huge portion of his shares in the open market for Uber. Sells $383 million of stock, further reducing his stake. The filing showed he sold the $386 million of Uber stocks, reducing his stake in Uber to less than 0.5% today, from about 6% when it was public in May. And at the start of 2018, he owned about 10% of the company, which is a huge stake. And there was a speculative piece, he might be completely liquidating his holdings by year's end, according by the Financial Times Friday. So that is pretty unique, to say the least. Could this be the reason why Uber volume has jumped drastically? It could be. So just wanted to do a quick calculations here. We're going to do calculator, and we're going to do a 383, then 123, 123. Let me make sure I got that right. Yep, okay. Then we're going to divide it by, they don't say exactly the amount of shares, so we're just going to call it like 29. All right. So he sold 13.2 million. All right, 13.2 million. All right, just remember that. Then on here, if you just pulled up like any ticker or market watch site, and it has the basically average volume, and it's the average volume throughout 10, 20 some odd days. So if we look here on the chart, yep, that's the wrong way. You can see here these blue lines in the back are the volume. Again, usually after a market or earnings report, the stock is going to go down or up, but there's going to be a lot of capitulation, a lot of selling, a lot of buying. You can see here that on the 16th and then the 20th, which is today, so Monday, and then Friday, we had a above average volume, and then we can pull up this chart here. So this is a daily chart looking at basically the same parameters, and you can kind of see here this yellow line is the average volume for 20 days. Again, 12-16 and 12-20 were highly above average days, and nearly almost matching the last selling of here. So is this just being frothed in a sense? So if I do, I wish I can, I need to look at the shortcut on how to see the true volume for that day, and figure that out. But that being said, is this being lifted up by that? Because initially my breakdown was, if Uber broke this red line here, this make-believe trend line, which it did, so this can honestly just be deleted, and it kind of broke through it here, consolidated, made somewhat of a base between 29 and like 28ish, and then slowly climbing higher. Another way I was looking at it was the Fibonacci retracement. So from the high to the low, which is right here, we are just breaking past the 50%, and then right below the 618, which is pretty key numbers on the Fibonacci retracement. So we're going to turn on the 7-point, that one, hit OK. So we have quite a ways to go to the 786 up here, which is at 3204 from that prior high to low, and it's kind of, we'll see what happens it's going to be hard to tell next week. It's going to be easier to tell the beginning weeks of 2020 if this is going to stay, or is this going to continue to kind of trade sideways and then potentially go back down. That's, I hate to say it, nothing's really changed from my understanding in Uber. Like, nothing's crazy has been announced. They're still doing a great job doing the ride sharing and competing heavily in the battleground stuff with Uber Eats, and then trying to expand with the Uber Freight. Like, I did a pretty detailed video on the breakdown of Uber and their business models and their potential of going forward. I really do believe this is a great company going forward. Just for me, I just don't have the capital I want to risk for this. I honestly believe that there's just better opportunities for individual people out there than putting their money into the Uber stock. Even though it's been kind of pummeled and it seems like it's discounted, and it seems like things can't go that much worse, but it can. That's the sad thing. Like, it just takes a couple major cities saying, you know what, we're done with this ride-hailing stuff and whatever scandals that could come out, and the stock could just drop out of nowhere. But that being said, the thing to also to compare to would be Lyft, and I have FT. There we go, and that's been kind of going up. So if you do this side by side, I don't think it's just the standalone Travis selling his shares. I think it's also a combination of people are kind of bottom fishing and they're just looking at a deal. For me, it needs to break above the 200 with a lot of momentum behind it. You see here, like, Lyft had some pretty crazy days here as well. So 12.16 and 12.20. This could be just also due to its levered to different various ETFs, and that could dictate a lot of this. But you can see here on the same amount of level here, we kind of had, it didn't really go anywhere. So this volume, this is again after a quarter, which could be a lot of capitulation. This normally high volumes, you can see here, there's usually some kind of reaction to the up or downside. This was a great day for them. They're up nearly 4% for Lyft today. But that being said, the moving averages are making sense, honestly. The technical understanding of this, short term, this is a couple weeks to a couple months, is pointing higher. So the next big lines of resistance is going to be like the $32 price level, the 33, and then like the 35. So you're going to have a lot of people to get out of that, because again, a lot of people probably sold after this huge drop in earnings from literally 10:30 to like the first week in November, dropping from, what was that, 30, just call it 33.50 down to like $25. So that's quite a big drop, even though the last quarter kind of had the same negative tone. The first quarter wasn't fantastic, but it showed promise. Just the underlying problem with having Wall Street understand that this might take longer than they thought on just trying to gauge and get a foothold in the market. I know a lot of people that I talk to want to get into this, want to buy the stock. Me, technically speaking, in my own opinion, it's just going to be difficult for me. It needs to prove itself to me more fundamentally. I would love to see the next quarter and see where that goes. And honestly, even before the next quarter, I just want to see how 2020, the end of 2019 looks, and then into 2020, and to see if a lot of fund managers are adding to this too as a speculative or even a core holding. Who knows? This would be something really interesting to see, and something I will be diving into in 2 or 3 weeks from now. We'll kind of do a look back of what's happening here. Worst case scenario, it just breaks down to 27 and the 25 level. If it honestly hits $25, like it's like if it's on crazy bad news, then you definitely don't buy it. But if it's just like a blah blah day, it's like the end of the year and people are just selling shares to negate the tax loss harvesting, I would be probably picking a little bit up as like a starter position. But that being said, that's my honest opinions on Uber stock. And again, crazy things can happen in the market, so just pay attention, trade your style, think before you do things. Again, this is Ken from the Dyslexic Investor. Catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.